and gentlemen, please stand and join Capitol Records recording artist Mr. Lee Greenwood in the singing of our national anthem.
Thank you. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of Thompson's TV Americas Division, Mr. Joe Clayton.
Good afternoon. Welcome. And I hope we're going to warm you up a little bit. Today it's my honor to serve as the Master of Ceremonies for our Thompson's 50 millionth color TV celebration. Let me begin by introducing our guests of honor that are up here on stage. First, Bernard Azatier, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Thompson Consumer Electronics. Frank O'Bannon, Lieutenant Governor, State of Indiana. Grady Brown, General Manager, Manufacturing, TV Division, America. Joe Foliano, Executive Vice President, Thompson's Worldwide TV Business. Robert Montgomery Knight, Head Basketball Coach, Indiana University. I'm sure he'll warm up in a little bit. Mr. Gib Apple, Thompson, Bloomington Plant Manager. And of course, Mr. Lee Greenwood. Thank you all for being with us today. You know, it's fair to say that most of us here today are part of a heritage that spans over 100 years, and it includes such historical giants as Thomas Edison, David Sarnoff, and Elihu Thomson. Now, y'all know about Sarnoff and Edison, but Mr. Thomson was a Philadelphia school teacher who founded Thomson in the 1880s, and then merged his company with Edison Electric to form what is today's General Electric Corporation. The Thomson name was carried on in Europe, where a French consortium acquired his patents and technology before the turn of the century. Today's Thompson Consumer Electronics is a direct descendant as a global company, but our roots are all American. Yes, it's our history of leadership in consumer electronics that has made us different. It's something that goes beyond corporate takeovers. It's rooted in the pride of accomplishment and the confidence that what we have done has taken us to the #1 position in the American TV industry. You know, it never ceases to amaze me that most Americans today believe that all color televisions are manufactured in the Far East. Well, it's about time that we told people that the color television capital of the world is not Seoul, Korea, it is not Tokyo, Japan, but it's located smack dab in the middle of America. It may be surrounded by limestone quarries and cornfields, but the world's largest color TV assembly operation in the world is Bloomington, Indiana. Bloomington, Indiana, the birthplace of color television. It's also fitting today that we recognize another milestone, and that is the 50th year anniversary of this, our Bloomington plant. On February 22nd, 1940, the Radio Corporation of America purchased the Showers family furniture building right here on South Rogers Street. Nipper radios were rolling off assembly lines until war was declared in 1941. The Bloomington plant did its part in the war effort. It was converted to build radio-controlled proximity fuses, which detonated bombs and shells when they came into a certain range. By 1949, black and white sets were being produced here. During the Korean War, V2 fuses were made. Then on March 17, 1954, the world's first production of color TV began right here in Bloomington. The CT100, an open-faced RCA console equipped with a 15-inch picture tube, had a list price of $1,000. And one of those sets is right up here on stage today. The Bloomington plant that year made a grand total of 4,568 sets. We'll come close to 3.3 million this year alone. Now, 36 years later, this factory has produced the 50 millionth color set, a staggering number to say the least. Many TV manufacturers, in fact entire countries, have yet to come close to approaching this milestone. Today, it's in vogue to talk about America's lack of competitiveness and how our economic clout is declining in the world. Don't let us Thompson people hear anyone saying that. Judge for yourself. Is there a more advanced final assembly facility in the world? Is there a more experienced and dedicated workforce anywhere? Is there a consumer electronics company with 2 stronger brands than RCA and GE? Is there a manufacturer that has a more world-renowned trademark than our own RCA Nipper Dog? And is there a company who has manufactured more color TV sets in the USA than Thompson? Finally, is there a company that has generated more technological innovations in TV than ours? The answer to all these pertinent questions is an emphatic no. Needless to say, we're all proud of Bloomington's 50 years and the history-making accomplishment of its 50 millionth color television. Yes, it's our good fortune to have our history and our heritage as building blocks for tomorrow. But it's imperative that we focus on the future of our business. And there is no more visible evidence of Thompson's commitment to the America's TV business future than what you have seen here today in terms of our plant, our products, and our people. Here at Thompson's flagship color TV facility, over $30 million has been spent to automate our high-volume lines, AIL 1, 2, and 3. Previously, an 8-hour shift turned out 1,078 20-inch units. Today, AIL 1 can generate 1,720 sets in the same time period. That's a 64% improvement in productivity. It's no wonder that our Far Eastern competitors consider a tour of Bloomington as the best ticket in town. Yes, we're making the investment to ensure that Bloomington is a world-class manufacturing facility second to none in the world. In terms of products, we've come a long way since that first CT100 rolled off the assembly line in 1954. Today's Thompson's investment in the future is clearly evident in the new very large screen, 31-inch and 35-inch direct view sets, and in projection TV as well. And just as before, Bloomington will again help change the shape of color TV in the coming years when Thompson launches its own 16:9 receivers, ACTV, and eventually HDTV. So the color TV capital of the world was, is, and will continue to be Bloomington, Indiana, TV home of Thompson Consumer Electronics Americas. We were #1 yesterday. We're #1 today. And you can be darn sure we'll be #1 tomorrow. Thank you all for your years of dedication and effort And let's begin the next 50 years today. Thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce to you Thompson's TV Business Vice President, Mr. Joe Foliano.
Thanks, Joe. I want to add my congratulations to the employees of the Bloomington plant. This world-class facility is not only the nucleus around which all of our U.S. television manufacturing revolves, it's also one of the central strategic elements of Thompson's television manufacturing capabilities around the globe. Celebrating the production of 50 million color television sets and 50 years of operation is a major highlight in this industry. In a competitive business where many companies have fallen and died, only to be remembered today as fossils of consumer electronics history, Thompson has grown to become the third largest TV manufacturer in the world. What part did Bloomington play in this colossal growth? In 1976, Thompson wasn't even on the top 10 list of worldwide color television manufacturers. With the acquisition of the famous RCA and GE brands of color television at the end of 1987, Thompson's sales doubled, making it a $6 billion consumer electronics corporation that commands the #1 market share in the United States, the biggest marketplace on earth. One plant that can take much of the credit for these numbers is Bloomington. Joe has told you about the rich history here and the focus on the future. I can confirm the forecast that on a worldwide scale, Bloomington will continue to play a major role in Thompson's growth and success. Located just a quick drive south from our expanding research and development center in Indianapolis, the Bloomington plant will be the obvious beneficiary of the latest technological developments in this decade and those of the coming century. In a business characterized by dynamic change, it's safe to say you ain't seen nothing yet when it comes to home entertainment in the future. The television set will remain at the core of this change, and Bloomington likewise will be in the middle of it all. This site will be home to new television products with new and exciting features that will completely revolutionize the TV industry. As the market continues to grow, in direct proportion to consumers' insatiable demands for the highest quality sight and sound home entertainment products, the Bloomington plant will continue to earn its well-deserved reputation as the color television capital of the world. Already state-of-the-art among Thompson's worldwide TV factories, the Bloomington plant will continue to modernize its manufacturing processes as well as its products. As we work hard to strengthen our competitive position by developing cost-effective synergies among product designs on different continents, Bloomington will become an increasingly instrumental piece of the overall World Thompson strategy. We are truly focused on the future, and this plant is a big part of it. Bloomington will be the catalyst for consumer electronics change in America and a flagship plant that represents Thompson's TV leadership around the world. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Thompson Consumer Electronics' new chairman and chief executive officer, who was flown here from Paris to join us in today's celebration, Bernard Izotier.
Special guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to be with you today. For somebody like me who is relatively new to the consumer electronic business, celebrating the 50 millionth television set being manufactured in Thompson's Bloomington plant is a humbling experience. To those who had forgotten, this is a reminder that television was invented and perfected in this country and gave birth to a fine industrial tradition with deep roots all around the United States. For Thompson Consumer Electronics to be entrusted with such an inheritance is not something that we take lightly. It's truly an honor and it's also a considerable responsibility for the future. The enormous amount of time, energy, ingenuity, and money that have been devoted to this and other US facilities over the past 3 years to keep them competitive is an indication of how committed Thomson is to investing in the future of America's television industry. For Thomson, Bloomington is not just another plant. It is not a pawn on a chessboard that happens to be sitting on a square called Indiana, waiting to be moved as circumstances dictate to some other square across some border or halfway across the world. This is not so much out of some sense of loyalty to the community, although that factor is far from being insignificant, as it is an acknowledgement of how valuable that community's accumulated experience in television manufacturing has become in the global competition. In the early days of the industry, manufacturing facilities were routinely established close to the markets where their products were sold on the grounds that closer is more convenient. Then global competition heated up and factories gradually moved offshore on the grounds that foreign labor is infinitely cheaper. Today, a third factor has appeared that is influencing industrial decision-making. It's know-how. As products become more sophisticated, the availability of workers, technicians, and engineers with 50 million television sets experience is a definite plus. So when it comes to high-end products with picture-in-picture, progressive scanning, rear projection, 30-inch plus screens, and elaborate audio capabilities, then the preferred place to manufacture is definitely the place where 50 million TV sets have already rolled off the line. With enhanced definition television and high definition television, a major revolution is about to happen again in our industry. In such a context, the proximity of the labs that are creating the new products is a strategic advantage. The initial manufacturing phase of any innovative product is a seemingly endless sequence of adjustments and corrections that require round-the-clock cooperation between those who have invented the product and those who will be manufacturing it. So when it comes to television sets with a 16:9 aspect ratio, digital sound, analog to digital converters, signal decompressors, and satellite tuners, then the preferred place to launch manufacturing is definitely the place that is only 90 minutes down the freeway from Thomson's US Central Lab in Annapolis. It's obviously much easier to drive from there to Bloomington than to fly to some distant location in Asia or Mexico. In Thomson Global, in Thomson's global manufacturing strategy, offshore facilities have also a role to play. Today, they enable the group to supply its US and European customers at competitive prices with standard products produced in long series and mass volumes. They also give Thomson a presence in emerging markets, in Asia particularly, which are growing extremely fast and becoming sizable markets by Western standards. Competition is a tough but healthy factor in a global business. The key to success is the ability to properly capitalize on one's strengths and correct one's weaknesses. For Bloomington, the opportunity is clear. Its future is in advanced products and high technology. And therein lies the challenge. Let's call it graduating from just experience to expertise, combining seniority and fitness, setting world standards for quality, improving one's competitive position through cost reduction and leadership in productivity. Let's be realistic and clear about it. There are quite a few challenges out there, both outside and inside the Thomson Group. What it takes to succeed must be accomplished here, not at some senior level of the organization. The future of Bloomington is in the hands of this local management and the workers. The consumer electronics industry is not for the faint of heart. Over the last 20 years, many players in the Western world have given up. During the same 20 years, Thomson has grown from a small European company to become a major global player. For Thomson, this business is strategic, and we are determined to win. So to some extent, today's celebration is like pinning a medal on a battle-scarred soldier for outstanding service, and then sending him right back to the front line because the war is still going on. Yes, well done, Bloomington. You have every right to be proud of your accomplishment. For the upcoming battles, we need you, we support you, we trust your abilities. The next 50 million TV sets are an opportunity which is in your hands. Special guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Bernard, for those encouraging words. And I assure you that the Bloomington people will never give up. When you talk about competitiveness and teamwork in the sports world, one name always comes to mind. We've made 50 million sets. We're celebrating 50 years of the Bloomington plant, and in 1 week, Mr. Knight will be celebrating his 50 years. So you don't have to sing happy birthday, but please join me in welcoming the head basketball coach of the Hurrying Hoosiers of Indiana University, Mr. Bobby Knight.
Bernard, I've been in France 5 times, and I'm really pleased to finally meet a Frenchman I can understand. Joe, you mentioned that Bloomington will be the beneficiary of millions of dollars of research poured into your facilities in Indianapolis. Why don't you get those people to research heat a little bit? I mean, here we are, and on the stage in front of you is Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Indiana just freezing his ass off right here. Now, if you voted for him the last time, I'd suggest you vote for him again. If you didn't vote for him, I'd suggest that you really think hard about voting for him the next time, because how many politicians do you know would get up in this kind of condition without an overcoat, a scarf, and a hat? So, Frank's got to be a hell of a lot tougher than most people in politics are, and I think that deserves our consideration. I've been asked to read a telegram. And it's with a lot of pleasure that I read this telegram. Congratulations to the Bloomington plant of the Thomson Communications Corporation You've done a tremendous job over 50 years following through with my original concepts. Best wishes through the next 50 years, and don't forget to root like hell for the Hoosiers. Signed, Thomas A. Edison. For those of you that may wonder about the strength of my religious convictions, just think how in the hell it would come about that a telegram from Thomas A. Edison could be delivered to me and who that messenger might be. I just want you to think about that for a second. What could be better than at something like this to commemorate a great moment in the history of American communication, a guy that I think so many of us have so thoroughly enjoyed, and who has, I think, been a person who has epitomized what being an American is all about and taking advantage of the opportunities that we as Americans have. What better person to be here with us this morning than Lee Greenwood? All you got to do is listen to him sing one song and you know there's a guy that stands for something. And you know, you people stand for something that maybe transcends what you even think about what you're doing and what you're contributing to society. There isn't anything that we as people, you and I, get more enjoyment out of, at times find more frustration with, or basically spend more time with than some aspect of the American communication media. And television is probably, without any question, the primary source of most entertainment for most Americans. I've always been a great believer in the ability to communicate and what communication stands for. In 1984, we're playing in Los Angeles in the Olympics, and we're playing in the first game against a team from Red China. Now, the Chinese can play badminton and they could play second base, but they're not very good at basketball. And we've got Michael Jordan playing with some other guys, and the game very quickly develops into sort of a lopsided game. And we have an official, a Czechoslovakian official. Each team represented in the Olympics assigns an official to the officiating pool. That year, the United States had both a men's team and a women's team, so we had 2 officials out of the 24 that were there. And the officials from a country cannot work that country's games. It would be like Big Ten officials not being able to work games at Indiana, which would make all of us a hell of a lot happier, probably. But we've been told in this game with China that the Czechoslovakian official we're going to have is not just a poor official, but might be just plain dishonest. And now, I don't pay a hell of a lot of attention to officiating during the course of a game. I believe that I'm there to coach and they're there to officiate, and I don't want to interfere with them or interrupt their approach to the game, but I've got a guy sitting on the bench with me who's my assistant coach, C.M. Newton. He's a great coach at Alabama and Vanderbilt, and he's currently, he calls himself the director of athletics at the University of Kentucky. I call him the director of corrections. But Newton is sitting with me on the bench in Los Angeles, and he's really gotten upset with the officiator. And he said, God, Bob, he said, you got to get up and say something. He said, get on that guy's ass a little bit. Say something. I said, Charles, just sit there. Give the man a chance, Charles. Let him, he has his job to do and you have yours to do. Give the man a chance out there, will you? Well, finally, about 15 minutes into the game, there's a break in the game. One of the Chinese kids down at the other end of the floor has broken his shoestring. It was probably of Russian manufacture. And so Newton, in international rules, the only guy that can get up and talk is the head coach. So Newton is really on me to get up, and I reluctantly get up, and I walk out on the floor, and the official's standing at midcourt. And he's looking at the basket at the other end. He has his arms folded. So I'm standing over on the sideline, and I say, "Ref, do you speak English? Any English, ref? Do you speak any English at all?" Just not a flutter. And I look back at Newton, and he's kind of pushing me on. I said, "What the hell am I going to do?" So I have a brilliant idea. I said, "Hablo inglés, un poco inglés." There have been parts of the world where I have been that Spanish was a necessity just to get out of the goddamn place. And with that, I still get no response, and I have used my entire linguistic repertoire. And I look back at Newton again, and well, now I'm getting a little bit irritated by this time, because if you've ever been to Europe, you know if you've got $10 in your pocket, somebody over there knows how to speak English. I mean, and I've been there, and I know this guy's got to understand some English. So I say one more time, "English. You understand any English? Do you understand the word incompetent?" Incompetent. I-N-C-O, and I proceed to spell incompetent. Nothing. And then I say, "Well, for what it's worth, you are an incompetent son of a bitch." Whack! Technical foul, just like that. So what I had found was a language through which he and I could communicate for the next 2 weeks. Now, what you folks have done here is communicate not only throughout the length and breadth of the United States, but you've been able to communicate with the entire world with what you've done here. And I think that you and those before you and those after you are to be congratulated, not for what you've done for RCA and eventually Thompson, but what you've done for people like me all over the world that enjoy communication and enjoy excellence through communication. And in that regard, what I'd like to do is please stand just a moment. Gib and I have made a little arrangement with you today, at least with those of you that are Indiana fans. We are going to have a scrimmage game this afternoon at 3:30. Those of you that are Indiana fans, and Gib, you can nod your head on this, are excused from work at 3 o'clock. To attend that scrimmage in Assembly Hall if you would like to do so. Now, you need to come in the parking lot on the 17th Street side of Assembly Hall. I'll have a couple managers there in the lobby that will show you where to go to for seats. The only request that Gib had is this. There are several of you apparently that need to get back here by 5:30 for some of the things that are going on tonight. If the scrimmage doesn't go particularly well, we won't be done by 5:30. So you make sure that you're back to do whatever you'd like to do, but I would like to, in a way of saying thanks to you for a lot of people that can't say thanks to you. That's my way of doing so, inviting you to this otherwise closed scrimmage this afternoon. So if you'd like to attend, please do so. We'll start at 3:30. When I was coaching the Olympic team, we played in 9 cities, from Providence to San Diego. And everywhere we went, there's a little patriotic theme, either prior to the game or during the halftime of these exhibition games that we played against NBA All-Star teams. And a part of each of those presentations was a song very familiar to all of us. And in that song, I think, are the 8 best put together words in all the history of the English language. And those words in that song are these: America, America, God shed his grace on thee. And a part of that grace is the responsibility that each of us has to do what it is that we're doing as well as we can. And you certainly have done that through 50 years here in Bloomington. And I know that history repeats itself, and that's something that can be expected from you and those that follow you during the next 50 years, because don't ever come into work or leave work without thinking that during the course of that day, you've done something that's going to make a lot of people in a lot of places have a lot more fun and enjoyment than they would otherwise have. I hope our team will be something that you can enjoy this year, and I hope you'll start by taking me up on my invitation to come to practice this afternoon. America, America, God shed his grace on thee. And isn't it a hell of a lot better to be in Bloomington, cold as hell, than in damn near any other part of the world here today? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach Knight, and we wish you well in the coming season. And not everybody in Kentucky is all that bad.
You obviously know people from Kentucky that I don't, then.
We'll talk about the fee later. Now it's my sincere pleasure to introduce a very important guest who has made time out of his busy schedule to join us today and to get very cold. A native of Cord in Indiana, Frank O'Bannon was elected state lieutenant governor in November 1988. Prior to his election, he worked 18 years in the Indiana Senate, serving 8 counties in southern Indiana, west of New Albany, and east of Evansville, just a short hop from my home state of Kentucky.
I want to tell you something. If you could have met the son of a bitch before we got a chance to have him up here in Indiana, you'd have just found another illiterate, backward country bumpkin from Kentucky. And look what we've done with him. We put him in a suit and tie and shine shoes up here in Indiana.
I have just a short aside here, Frank. I'd like to thank the great state of Indiana for paying for my assistantship and graduate degree at the great Indiana University, from which I graduated.
We brought him in here in graduate school under a special program for those with deprived educational backgrounds. This is a jacket that obviously that I've been wearing and that I had made up for people that I really like, because I don't give anybody something that says Indiana basketball on it that I don't like, so I'd like to give this to you.
Not bad for being on the Equal Opportunity Program, I'm telling you. Thanks, Coach Knight. It means a lot to me. It really does. Back to Frank O'Bannon. I'm sorry, Frank. Frank, like myself, is a graduate of Indiana University. Frank earned his bachelor degree here at the Bloomington campus in 1952, spent 2 years in U.S. Air Force, and then came back for his law degree. And I lost my page. 57. It's a privilege to welcome an effective legislature, a hardworking champion of industry in Indiana, and a longtime friend of our company, Lieutenant Governor Frank O'Bannon.
Number one, it's good to stand up. Number two, I didn't even think I was cold until Bobby got up and said I was short. Number three, people are wondering, how is a politician going to follow Bobby Knight? And my answer is briefly. But I did have the honor in 49 and 50 of being a member of the Indiana basketball varsity team under Coach McCracken. And I'm a little Chinese, wasn't tall enough or fast enough, and so was not a part of the team.
Frank, let me say this, though. I know enough about the kind of person you are and all that you've done for Indiana to know that you'd have been a goddamn tough player for us. I want to tell you that.
Thank you. And it is an honor and a privilege to be here with Joe and Bobby to help celebrate with all your officials and the workers and associates here at Thompson Consumer Electronics. And it is a remarkable record, and it's been talked about, 50 million television sets in their 50 years anniversary. And I think it was mentioned before, but the thing I think I want to emphasize and put to rest is the myth that we don't build television sets in the United States anymore. And I think the record shows that the very best television sets in the world are built by Thompson Consumer Electronics here in Indiana, here in Bloomington, Indiana. I think we all know that RCA and General Electric are brand names that enjoy great consumer confidence, and I'm confident that your ProScan line will set standards of excellence that'll be the envy of your competitors. So I say today, congratulations, keep up the good work. Just a little over a year ago, I was in Marion, and there Thompson had a ceremony marking the 40th anniversary of the Thompson Consumer Electronics, also in Marion. And over those 40 years, over 80 million television picture tubes had been manufactured. One little story, a story back in 1927, early test of television, and Herbert Hoover, who was then U.S. Secretary of Commerce, participated in the demonstration and was very impressed. But the newspapers the next day carried a front page headline that read, "Far-off speakers seen as well as heard here in a test of television." But the subtitle headline said, "Commercial use in doubt." Well, I think doubt's been removed by the great advances made here. The the great production that we have here in Bloomington. I think we're proud of your plant here in Bloomington. We're proud of your plant in Marion, and we're proud of your plant in Indianapolis. And we're also particularly proud, Bernard, that you've chosen Indiana as a site for your North American headquarters. My congratulations go to you and Joe Foliano and Joe Clayton, Grady Brown and Gib Apple, and each of you for what you've accomplished and what I'm confident will accomplish, you'll accomplish through your commitment to quality. Here in Bloomington, we have quality jobs, quality workers, and quality products, all coming together to create a bright future. It's a great day for Thompson Consumer Electronics. It's a great day for Bloomington, and it's certainly a great day for the state of Indiana. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Frank, for taking time out of a busy schedule. I know how difficult it was for you to get here today. Now, we're wrapping up. I'd like for all of you to help us celebrate the unveiling of the 50 millionth TV set today. Now, for those up here in the seats, guys on the stage, you should have this remote control hand unit. This is one of our products. It's a CRK59 universal remote control that operates most brands of televisions, VCRs, and cable boxes. Today, it also has a special capability. Now, what I'd like for all of us to do, on the count of 3, I want the people to please push the button here and labeled TV, the big one. TV, on, off, on, off, on, off. Pink. Are we ready? On the count of 3. Stand up, please. 1. You guys sit down in the front. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
As we celebrate this achievement again, let's welcome Lee Greenwood.
Thank you. Here's a song I wrote about America. I'm not from Kentucky. But it speaks for all of us, no matter where we're from in this great country. If tomorrow all the things were gone, worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. If you you'd like to stand up, I think it'd be a good thing to do. Can you stand up back there? From the lakes of Minnesota, you are standing up from the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every Indiana heart, and it's time to stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me, and I'm gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Sing it with me. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me, and I'm gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't